Okay, so this is our TCO Today Dashboard. So this is an exciting brand new feature inside your My Dashboards area on MPC. So it's just the last option on the drop down here. So the purpose of the dashboard is if you are a treatment coordinator, or even if your practice doesn't have anyone in that role, I imagine there will still be somebody that follows up treatment plans for the practice, whether it be practice manager, some of your dental nurses, or your reception teams. So even if you do not have a TCO in the practice, no need to worry, you can still use the dashboard here today. I'm sure you will still see value in it. So this gives you clear visibility of all of your treatment plans, tracking conversion rates and overseeing the patient journey from their first initial appointment at the practice. All of your key areas are on the one dashboard, as you can see here, saving you time as there's no need to run numerous reports. It isn't just a helpful tool, it is a workflow upgrade for your practice teams. So ideally, it should be utilised on a daily basis. So let's break down the value. So it identifies incomplete treatment plans immediately. You can increase production with fewer missed treatment plans, as you'll be able to see when we go through the reports. It reduces manual tracking. So from working with dental practices, it is very common where they'll maybe track things on an Excel spreadsheet. So we are hoping that this will take all of that away, which will save you admin time to focus on patient care or maybe other priorities for the practice. So it also provides a full overview of your treatment plans pipeline and the revenue generated from them as well. Okay, so as we can see here, there is many different features to the dashboard. So I will go through them with you all in detail today. So just to make you aware, if you have access to more than one practice on MPC, under dashboard practices here, you can see I have 4 practices in my dummy data. Then you can run the dashboard for all of the practices, or you can just run it on an individual basis as well, by clicking into the area here, unselect all, and then just tick the box of the practice you would like to run the dashboard for, and then create report here in blue. If you are a mixed dental practice where you offer private and NHS treatments, then the dashboard can also include your NHS courses of treatments here. So by default, it will load up and just show your private courses. So if you want to include your NHS, you just need to click the show NHS cots, and both will appear on the dashboard. Okay, so firstly, here we have open courses of treatments without an appointment in the past 6 months. So this makes it easy for you to follow up with patients who have had more recent treatment plans created and have not booked a future appointment to get the treatment carried out. So as we can see here across my 4 practices, I have 323 open cots without appointments. So this would be the ones that I would be wanting my TCOs to follow up with. So if we click into the number on the dashboard, then it will drill down further into the data. So we can see for each individual course of treatment, all of the details, which I'll go through with you in the next couple of minutes. At the top here for the report, you can search under specific service codes. So if you are a practice that specialises in any treatments such as Invisalign, smile makeovers, implants, as long as you have a specific service code for each of those treatments. Then you can type them in here. So say, for example, I was wanting to load up a report of patients that had been in for an implant consultation that don't have a future appointment booked. Then I would just type in the service code here for the implants and then click create report, and then it would give me those list of patients to follow up with. We do have the 2 filters here on the report as well. So we can filter out via the treatment value as well, which is really beneficial if you're looking to target higher value courses of treatments for the practice. So we just need to highlight over the amounts and then click create report, and it would load up those amounts, those courses of treatment, over the value of £1,000. The invoiced amount range, so that is focusing on the total amount of the service codes on the patient's charting screen that have been marked as completed and then invoiced through either Exact or Dentally, depending on what software you use in your practice. But for the report here, if it is a group of practices that you work with, you will be able to see all of the practices on the one report, which saves you having to run a separate report for each practice. So what does the report show? So first of all, we've got your course of treatment number here. You'll notice that it is in blue, so it is a hyperlink. So that means that I can click into this and drill down into the data. So it will mirror the patient's charting screen, and we'll be able to see what treatment it is that the patient needs booked in for. The working provider is the dentist that has created the treatment plan. So just to make you aware further along the report, you will see owning provider. So that is the patient's registered dentist. So from this report, I can very easily see here that provider Amy is carrying out work on dentist Sam's registered patient. So this is a very easy way for you to monitor to see if any internal referrals within the practice also. Then we've got the patient's payer code, the date that the course of treatment was created on your PMS, the plan date and started date. If it is blank in this column, then it means that none of the treatment on the charting screen has been carried out. Then we've got the patient's details here and the patient payer code. If the patient has a next appointment booked, then it will tell you how many days until that appointment. And then we've got the treatment plan value here as well. If you double click, it will put it from highest to lowest. And then we can see how much of the treatment has already been invoiced through and how much of the service codes that are waiting to be done. What is the total value of them? Percentage completed here. So if there is any shown 0, that means that none of the treatment codes have been invoiced through. So it's very easy to highlight the patients that we need to follow up with, because it will say percentage completed 0 and they won't have the next appointment booked in the column. So this would be the ones that you would be wanting the TCOs to follow up with, maybe on a weekly basis or maybe fortnightly, whatever happens in your practice. With this report, you can schedule it. So that means that we can automatically send the report to your inbox. So it saves you having to run the report every week, for example, because we will be sending it directly to you. To set up the scheduling, that is very straightforward. You just need to name the report something meaningful. The password, you create the password yourself. So the report will attach as a zip file in the email. When you go to open the file, it will ask for the password that you have created here. And we have just set that up for GDPR purposes. Schedule frequency, there is 5 options from the drop down. So if you were to run it for the weekly basis, then you would get the data for the past 7 days. If you ran it for monthly, you would get the full data from the previous calendar month. So I'll just choose weekly as it is the most popular, and then you can select what day of the week and what time you would like the report to hit your inbox. Just to make you aware, it will go to the email address that you use to log into MPC. So if you were looking to schedule the reports to your reception inbox, please ensure that you are logged into their MPC user account. And we do have help videos and a help report on this as well, which makes it very easy, just in case you forget. So next up, we have new registered patients without an appointment. So this allows you clearly to see for the previous 2 months and the current month how many new patient records have been created that have then not went on to have an appointment booked at the practice. So essentially the patients have phoned up, the reception team have taken their details over the phone and made them a patient record on your software, but then they've not booked them in for an appointment at the practice. So we can see here the booked percentages and then how many patients have not got an appointment scheduled to the bottom here. So if I click into last month, then it will load up the report in a couple of minutes. So this will take me to the new patients created analysis report. It's taking a wee minute to load here, sorry. But the report will give you a full overview of all of the new patients' records that have been created. And again, if you have access to more than one practice on MPC, then you will be able to see all of the practices on the one. So we can see for the top practice here, we've got the created date that the patient's record was made. Then I can see the patient's details here, and then we can go on to see, are they still in, do they still have an active record, or is it that the patient's phoned up, the record's been created, and then maybe the patient's phoning around all of the local practices to see where they can get an appointment sooner. So then they might phone you back if they can get an appointment at a practice down the road sooner, and choose to then deregister. So you'll be able to see the status of the patient, what dentist they have been registered with, and then we can see, do they have an appointment booked or not? So at the top here, we've got that the patient doesn't have an appointment booked. So then, of course, there's no treatment plans. But these 2 patients here at the bottom, they do have an appointment scheduled, but they don't have a treatment plan existing as of yet. But it may be that the report will show you, has the patient got an appointment booked, was a treatment plan created, and has the treatment been completed as of yet. So these 2 patients, it's probably a high chance that the appointment is booked for the future. We can also see how many days has it taken for the first course of treatment to be completed. So you can see clearly from the report the date that the patient was registered on the system, and then how many days has it taken for the patient to get booked in and the treatment to be carried out. We can then also see the first course of treatment value. So this will allow us to immediately see what revenue is being generated from the new patients. And then we can see the invoice category here as well. And then you've got your referral type. So you'll be able to see where is it that the patients are coming from. Is it word of mouth if they've been referred from another patient or maybe another dental practice? And again, you can print, export the data, which we put it onto Excel format, and you can also schedule this report also. Your courses of treatments created. So here we have the data for last month and this month. So it allows you to easily monitor the practice's performance, and you can compare it against the month previous. So this is just for private courses just now. So I've got last month created 210 to the treatment plan value of 32,782.72. And then we can see the figures for August so far. If we click into the numbers on the dashboard here, then we can drill down into the data even further. So this is for the month of July. I can see all of the treatment plans that have been created, and we can then see, has the treatment been started? Some of the courses of treatments may have been completed already in the month, but if it is that there's no completed date and the patient doesn't have a next appointment, then this is the patients that we would be looking to follow up with as well. Your courses of treatments in progress. So this is treatment plans that were created last month or this month, and some of the service codes have already been marked as completed. So we know that the course of treatment is in progress. So again, if you were looking to drill down into the data for this, then it's very easily done. We just need to click into the numbers on the dashboard again, and you will be able to see the data here. So it should let you know the next appointment date. It might be as well that there is some courses of treatments where the dentist has completed some of the service codes, but the patient needs to come back for a final appointment. So maybe, for example, if the patient had a course of treatment for a few composite fillings, maybe they've had 3 out of 4 done, but they need to come back for the 4th and have the appointment booked. So we can also monitor that from that report. Your course of treatments completed. So from working with practices, I do know that there is some practices where their treatment coordinators will manually track this on an Excel spreadsheet, because it may be that maybe they'll receive a bonus if that is the way that the practice works. So this is why we have put this on the dashboard, because it makes it very easy for you just to get the data immediately, as opposed to maybe like running all different reports and then having to export them out. So it does make it very convenient for you to see the total number of completed treatment plans in the month. So you can click into this as well, and if you were, say you report on total number of Invisalign fits or implant placements, for example, then again you can use the search for service codes and type in the specific service code for them and then create report, and then it would bring you up how many implant or Invisalign cases have been completed within the month as well. Your course of treatments, created average treatment plan value. So we've got that for last month and this month. So you would be hoping that you would see an improvement in the figure and an increase, as you can see here, at an increase of just over £120 as opposed to the month of July, which is great. And again, you can click into this and it will give you all of the individual courses of treatments. Your fail to attends here, so you can see last working day and then the past 30 days. Patients that have failed to attend that do not have a future appointment booked at the practice. So I've got 74 patients. And the reason why we have added this is because you may have had patients that you have been following through their patient journey with as a TCO, and then they have maybe failed the last appointment. So you can run this report and it will give you the list of all of the patients that have failed to attend in the past 30 days for the practice. It is important to mention it will include all FTAs, so it is important that you are checking the new appointment made column here, and if you click on that the one time, it will filter all the patients that need rebooked to the top of the report, and patients that have already rebooked would drop down to the bottom. So the patients at the top here would be the ones that we would be looking to contact and see if they would like to book in. The report will let you know the patient's treatment description, so we can see what it is that they need booked in for, and if you click into that the one time, it will put it in alphabetical order. So as you can see here, it is then very easy to pick out specific treatments to hopefully try and prioritise them to get them rebooked. The report will also show you how many times has the patient failed to attend in the last 24 months. So if it is a high number, then it may be that the patient has triggered your FTA policy and you might choose to put a charge on their account before another appointment is booked for them at the practice. Which then brings us on nicely to your cancellations. So this is taking into account any patient with a cancelled appointment, whether it was the practice or the patient that did the cancellation. So we can see here we've got 17 patients in the past 30 days with a cancelled appointment that do not have a future appointment booked at the practice. And this area here is letting me know of cancelled appointments for today and tomorrow, how much white space is still sitting in the diaries. So the patients have cancelled the appointment and we've not been able to rebook the space. Click into number 17 and then this will give me full detail on the cancellations. Again, it will show you all the cancellations for the past 30 days, whether the patient's rebooked or not. So again, you do need to check the new appointment made column here before contacting the patients. But the report will show you details of the original appointment, the date of the cancellation, number of days notice. So if it was 0, the appointment was cancelled on the day, unfortunately. And if we click on number of days notice again, it will give us patients that gave more days notice to the top of the report. So maybe that you would choose to prioritise patients that gave more days notice to rebook, as opposed to patients that cancelled their appointment on the day. We've then got all of the patient's details here. So we've got the patient code, their name and the payer code, and then information around the appointment. So who was it booked with, the length, and also what treatment. And again, we can put this in alphabetical order. And we've got how many cancellations has the patient had in 2-year period. So again, if it is a high number, you may want to investigate into that on the patient's record. Is it that they have short notice cancelled all 24 times? And if you have a short notice cancellation policy, then you might want to follow that. And finally, we have the diary utilisation tile here. So this is shown for today and the next 2 working days in the practice of all of the available diaries. So the diaries that are opened on Exact or Dentally, the booked hours percentage, and then you have your white space hours underneath. Of course, I'm using dummy data, so your data for this tile will be a lot better than mine. But the purpose of adding this to the TCO Today dashboard is it may be that you have patients that you're looking to make their treatment plans a priority. Maybe they need urgent care, or it might be that they're getting married, or they're going on holiday, and they would like their treatment to be completed in time for that. Or it might just be that there is patients that the dentist wants you to see sooner. So if you did have any white space hours here shown underneath, then you could then contact those patients on the priority list to hopefully try and get them booked in. And there you can also run your open cots without appointments here, and your FTA and cancellation without appointment reports if you do have a high amount of white space, to hopefully try and get the patients booked in and bring up your diary utilisation for the practice. So that is your TCO Today dashboard. So the next dashboard that was recently released is our private treatment tracker. So again, to access this, it is under the My Dashboards area here, and you can see it here, treatment tracker private. So when it loads up, it will look like this on the dashboard. So this is just focusing on your private treatment plans for the practice, and it does filter it out via the treatment plan value as well. So you can see here there's all different feature tiles on the report, so I will go through these with you. So the first one here is treatments created versus started and booked. So this is, we're not filtering it out via the treatment plan value here. This is just for all of the treatment plans. So the purpose of this dashboard is for you to monitor your treatment conversion rates within the practice. So there is 2 tabs along the top here. So you've got value of treatments and then the number of courses of treatments as well. The default is set to run 12 months previous up until yesterday's date, but you can change the reporting dates if you would like to. So you can see here 12 months start. If you click on the drop down, you can go back 3 months, 6 months, start of the calendar year, financial year, Or if you're looking to report on specific dates, maybe if you're doing any KPI reporting, then you just need to switch on the date range here, and you can choose the start and end date from the calendar, and then we just need to click apply at the right hand corner here. So for the report, as you can see, there is 2 lines on the graph. So the blue line here is totaling all of the treatment plans that have been generated through your PMS. So say, for example, patient comes in for an implant consultation, new patient exam, and then they have a treatment plan created, then we would total all of the treatment plans that have been generated in the month. Then the yellow line on the graph here is treatment plans that are in progress. So how we pick this up is once one of the service codes is marked as completed on the course of treatment and the patient has a second appointment booked at the practice, that then flags to us that the treatment has been started and booked, it's in progress. So we would then include it in this figure here. So if we look at July, the total value of treatment plans created was £32,782.70, and that is over 210 treatment plans. We can then drill down into the data further. You just need to click on the data points on the graph, and it will bring up this window here. So if you have access to more than one practice, then as you can see here, I've got all 4 of the practices on the one window here. So you will be able to conveniently see all of your practices on the one. From the drop down here, you can go back all of the months and see how the practice or practices have been performing for converting treatments. So if we take my top practice here and I click into the blue line, then this will show me the treatment plans that have been created for July. So basically, from using the TCO Today and the treatment plans private tracker dashboards, it is a full cycle. So if you use both along beside each other, then you will be able to follow through with the treatment plans and your patient journey. The next feature tile here is filtering out to treatment plans up to the value of £100. So that will most likely be like any of your consultations, exams, any of your hygiene appointments will mostly fall under this bracket here. So we can see for July, treatment plans up to the value of £100 was just under £6,000, and that is over 109 treatment plans. Again, you can click into this and it will take you to the treatment plans by period detail, and you can drill down into the data. Then we've got treatment plans to the value of £100 to £1,000, which should cover most of like your basic fillings, if you're doing like any crown work, things like that, dentures. Then we've got 1,000 to 5,000, and then we're starting now to get into the higher value treatments. So treatment plans over the value of £5,000. So it may be if you're doing a full smile makeover, if you have patients that are maybe getting more than a couple of implant placements, then this would cover those patients for you. If you are a mixed practice, then this feature here will make you aware of the private treatment plans that have been generated from NHS registered patients. So just now, I don't have any data on the dummy practices because they all are private practices, unfortunately. But you will be able to see the value, just like you can see here, of the treatment plans generated from your NHS patients, and then also how much of those treatment plans are in progress. So this will then allow you to see the uptake of revenue from NHS to private treatment plans. And then we have at the bottom here of all of the treatment plans that have been completed in the month, the treatment plan value of them. So everything is graphical, so it allows you to see at a quick glance how you are performing, and of course you would be hoping that it would be on the rise. If anything was to drastically drop, then you would of course be looking to investigate into that. So that is our TCO and the private treatment plan tracker. So getting started is really simple. Both of the dashboards are now live on your MPC user account. There's no setup required, so you can start tracking and monitoring treatment plans, new patient numbers, without future appointments booked today.